Hey friends, I'm Mel and welcome. Today I'm going to take you to a really scary place. It's my mind. Actually, it's really more my thought process. I get a lot of questions here about what I keep in my freezer and my pantry and why. And honestly, I've just been operating the way I do on autopilot for so long. That's something I really had to sit down and think about for myself. So today we're going to Aldi together, and I'm going to show you exactly what I buy to stock my kitchen so that I always have plenty of dinner options on hand, plus 2 dinners that are perfect, delicious examples of why I buy these items and how I put my little system to work even when I haven't been to the store in well over a week. Today, you're going to see why I always keep frozen chicken tenders and some form of delicious white cheddar mac and cheese in my freezer and pantry, and why I also keep tons of frozen veggies and things like this on hand for when I just don't know what I want to make for dinner. First thing, I'm going to get my chicken tenders in the oven baked up. I love keeping chicken tenders on hand, not just to have chicken tenders. We bake these up, cut them up, put them on salads. I use them in wraps. You'll see today, I'm going to mix them in to a little dish today. If you find chicken tenders on sale, I always suggest stocking up. You'll be glad you did. In my cast iron, I've got a couple of tablespoons of butter. I'm going to add a little bit of avocado oil. Very carefully, I'm going to throw in just a little bit of some frozen broccoli florets. I've honestly not been to the store, and I'd like to have some onion to go in here, but I don't, and I don't have any in the freezer. But I did look again, and I happen to have a little bit of diced red bell pepper, so we'll toss that in. And let's get this just sauteed up really nice. Just want to get it tendered up a little bit here. You could put in mixed vegetables. You could put in asparagus in the summer. I love to do this kind of dish with some fresh asparagus. I'm also going to get this box of macaroni and cheese started, and I'm just doing it according to the package directions here. It's one of those that has the cheese sauce packet, so just boil it, drain it, and mix this goodness in. Guys, look what I found in my tater box. I had an onion. That was an exciting development. That's not usually where I keep those. So I got that, about half of it diced up, and throw that in. Onion just brings everything up. I love the flavor of the onion, the aroma. Everything's better with a little onion in it. My chicken has finished off, so I'm just going to put it right back here on the back of the stove to cool off. Just going to leave it right there. Now that my macaroni is done, I'm going to throw in just a little bit of garlic. I did cut my heat down on my skillet just a little bit. Just want to saute this up till it's nice and fragrant. You don't want to scorch it. Although I do like a little bit of char on my veggies here. Don't want it on your garlic. I'm also now going to take some of these chicken tenders, and I'm just going to chunk them up in big pieces. Not everybody appreciates the veggies in here, so I'm going to leave a couple tenders out for them, and they can pull their own macaroni off. Now that I've let Maddie get her macaroni out, I'm going to stir all the rest of it right into my veggies. I did cut my skillet off now. Let's get all this mixed together. I'm using my 10¼ inch Lodge Black Lock skillet. You guys have heard me talk about these. I love them. They're 30%. That's hot. Don't touch that. They're 30% less heavy. Triple seasoned. I love them. I can handle them so easy with one hand. And I got me a 12-inch one down there not long ago. And I got another big nice piece of Lodge Black Lock. I splurged when I was down there. It was 30% off. and I got the brazier that has the lid. I haven't even used it yet. I had to do that and show it to you guys soon. To finish off this dish, I'm just going to put these chicken tenders that I've cut up down in here. Of course, if you had, grilled chicken left over from anything you've made, you can just use it. I just had this on hand. You don't have to put chicken in it. You can just make it veggies. I'm going to top it with just a little bit of mozzarella cheese just to kind of stick everything together. I'm also going to sprinkle on some real bacon pieces. If you had, time to fry your bacon up, chunk it up into big pieces to top this with. It's delicious. And you can cook your veggies in your bacon grease. It wouldn't be vegetarian then, I reckon, but, we're not going that route today. It's good to go, just like it is, into the oven. Melt that cheese, make it gooey, but I've got a little bit of panko breadcrumbs. I love to make a crispy, crunchy topping. Got about a tablespoon full of melted butter. And because I have it, I'm going to sprinkle in a little bit of this Kinder's Buttery Steakhouse seasoning. And I'm going to get all this mixed together. And I'm just going to sprinkle it all over the top of this little skillet meal. I love a crunchy topping. A lot of times when I ask Patrick, if I make something for the first time, I'll say, is there anything that you think would make this better? Something you think I could add or take away? 99.9% of the time, he'll say, I think if you made one of those crunchy toppings like you do, that would be good. So, crunchy topping, it almost always is. I did cut my oven down to 350 from where I'd cooked those chicken tenders. Gonna slide that in the oven, maybe 15 minutes. Let everything get melted and crispy on the top. Oh, man. That looks so good. Look at that steam rising off of this. Chicken, bacon, cheese, macaroni, broccoli, onions, garlic. I don't even remember what all I put on here, but it all came right out of my freezer, my pantry. Friends, I've made this a million different ways with a million different veggies, whatever I had on hand, whatever was in season. It is always delicious and it always satisfies. You can use the Bob Evans refrigerated macaroni and cheese. It makes it even just a little bit easier. But honestly, the shelf-stable kind is so good to keep in the pantry. You always have it on hand. This supper, guys, I hope that you try this. Let me know what you put in it and how your family likes it. It's one of my favorites. I'm sitting here at Aldi right now. I'm just dreading getting out of my warm car, but I'm going to do it because I need to replenish some of the regular kitchen staples that I keep on hand all the time. And Aldi is a great place to do that. I thought it would be fun to bring you with me and show you some of the things that I purchase regularly, frozen and canned or pantry items that allow me to make meals like what I'm showing in this video at the drop of a hat, just without any notice, whether I've been to the grocery store or not. Now, something that you rarely see me purchase at the grocery store anymore is meat. I've been getting all of my meat and seafood from Good Chop, for 2 or more years now. If you've never heard of them, Good Chop is a subscription service that delivers high-quality meat and seafood right to your door. I always get the basics like chicken, ground beef, and bacon, and you see them week in and week out in my videos. But what we really love are the steaks, pork chops, and seafood. It is hard to find good quality cuts at a decent price at your grocery store now. Good Chop takes the hassle out of this. They offer cuts like 100% grass-fed ribeyes, USDA prime filet mignon, wild-caught salmon, pork tenderloins, and more. And they have over 100 cuts for you to choose from. And there's no guesswork with Good Chop. Every single thing we've eaten has tasted great and been great quality. And you can customize your box with whatever cuts of meat you want, with prices starting at about $3.32 per portion. All the products are vacuum sealed and flash frozen at peak freshness. And the rest I love to stock in the extra fridge freezer in our garage. Have it on hand when I need it for whatever I want to cook. And something that sets Good Chop apart from the rest and really endears them to me is that they support the local farms and independent ranchers by exclusively sourcing their meat and seafood from American farms and fisheries. See the difference for yourself? Go to goodchop.com/YouTube and use code MOMMAMAIL130, or you can click the link in the caption below to receive $130 off across your first 4 boxes. You don't have anything to lose, you love Good Chop, or they offer you 100% money-back guarantee.
Oh my God, that's the best meatloaf ever. It is, that's good.
That's music to my ears. That's goodchop.com/YouTube. Use code MOMMAMAIL130. You get $130 off across your first 4 boxes. Thank you so much, Good Chop, for being a longtime supporter of the channel. And guys, let's go shopping. For 95 cents, green onions is something that I will always grab at Aldi. You can spruce up anything with a little bit of green onion on the top. $2.39 for a 2-pound bag of onions. That's a great deal. Onions last a long time, give great flavor, and of course, if they start to go bad on you, you can just dice them up and put them in the freezer. Have them on hand for any time. And these salad dressing envelope mixes for 53 cents. This is not just for dressing. These are great to throw in skillet meals, crock pot meals, season up chicken, pork, anything you're making. These are handy helpers. For $1.95, if you don't keep real bacon pieces on hand, you're really missing out. These are great to throw in casseroles or on the top. I use these in skillet meals. They are really a time saver and honestly a money saver too when you just need a little bit of crumbled up bacon. Aldi has really good prices and a really good selection of wraps, especially the carb control ones. And these are great not just to eat as a wrap, but I make skillet pizzas with these. I also just use them for tacos and stuff like that. Aldi also has an awesome variety of sauces. I love this one right here, 24 ounces, I believe it is, for $1.79. I use salsa not just with chips. I stir it into lots of skillet meals and casseroles. There's a lot you can do with salsa when you don't have fresh tomatoes. Canned fruit is always good to have on hand. You can throw together a cobbler with canned peaches, cup of flour, cup of sugar, cup of milk. Pineapple is always good to use as a sweet something when you're cooking meat. Can't go wrong with fruit cocktail. I've actually got a recipe using fruit cocktail that I'm getting ready to try myself. And always keep your basic condiments like mustards, ketchups, and mayonnaise on hand. You can make a lot of neat sauces with stuff like this. Along those same lines, be sure to keep things like jellies and honeys, also for making sauces. And you can just put peanut butter and honey together, air fry that on a sandwich. It's delicious. And if you've been here long, you've seen amazing things that we do with jam on my channel. For most folks, rice is definitely a staple to keep on hand. If you like it, you need to do that. You can do a lot with it, but I'm just not crazy about rice. But canned chicken breast is something that I keep on hand all the time. $9.55 for 4 12.5-ounce cans. It's a great pantry staple. Of course, it goes without saying you need to keep flour and sugar in your pantry. Another thing are dried beans. These are really inexpensive. They last a long time. I'm always going to have a few pounds of dried pinto beans in my cabinet, but I also keep tons of canned beans like refried beans, black beans, pinto beans, and Great Northern beans, and canned tomatoes of all varieties. You can use these for stews, chilies, just to throw in casseroles, anything at all. You definitely want to keep tomato sauces. Tomato paste gives a lot of flavor, and Aldi has fire roasted diced tomatoes for $1.15 a can. Really, all the canned veggies are great to have on hand. I especially like to keep whole kernel corn and black beans on hand to throw into skillet meals. It's a good way to put like mixed vegetables into casseroles just to add a little bit of extra whenever your kids or your husband may not be getting what they need. Again, with the seasoning packs, I'm not going home without a couple of things of taco mix. I also love me a good packaged brown gravy mix to throw in crock pot meals. And I mean, just look at the variety of seasonings and spices for 99 cents at Aldi. You can add so much flavor if you just have some of these basic seasonings in your pantry. And I love to keep minced garlic like this right here on hand. It's so convenient and ready to go when you need it. Adds so much flavor. You gotta have oil on hand to saute in. It brings out the flavor of everything. I used olive oil a lot, but recently I've been hung up on avocado oil because it has a really high smoke point, and let's face it, sometimes I cook too hot. You've seen I love to keep these fancy macaroni and cheeses on hand as a base for building on. Of course, you want some basic sauces and just some regular pasta, which is always a good deal at Aldi. But for some reason, this cavatappi pasta is 69 cents. You better believe a couple boxes of this. It's going home with me today. I wouldn't be me if I didn't recommend picking up a couple cans of cream of mushroom and cream of chicken soup. And broths are always great to keep on hand to add flavor. Evaporated milk is something that I keep in my pantry all the time. It's great to make mashed potatoes with this, but really, if you're just out of milk, you can add water back into this and reconstitute it to regular milk. Heck no, friends, we ain't going down this candy aisle. That ain't happening today. Has anybody had this? I love the Lesser Evil Himalayan salt popcorn. These are space balls. Light, fluffy, organic corn puffs, pizza flavored. Let me know if you've had these. Yes, sir. For 99 cents clearance, you are going home with me. And if anybody needs a turkey, 77 cents per pound on these huge butter balls. That'd probably still be good next Thanksgiving. Yes, yes, yes. To all the frozen veggies, you can make skillet meals, quick and easy sides by throwing these in the microwave. All varieties of these are perfect to have on hand, and they keep forever in the freezer. And Aldi has this terrific organic selection if you're into that here. A really good price on these. And I have to say, I buy this butternut squash all the time here. It's delicious. I love having frozen chicken tenders on hand. They come in lots of different flavors anymore, even some grilled varieties, even the fillets. You can cook these up, serve them up on top of a salad. You can put them in a wrap. You've seen me cut them up and put them in skillet meals. They are great to have on hand in any and every variety that you have available. Cheeses of all varieties, shreds, blocks, is great to have on hand. You can top any dish with it and melt it. Did you know you can freeze cheese? You can. Friends, this is what works for me. I love finding ways to add flavors into inexpensive regular grocery store items, and I love finding pantry staples and freezer foods that I can keep on hand to substitute for fresh meat and fresh produce when I don't have it on hand. I hope that you find these tips helpful. Most of all, I hope that you will find what works for you. You have to be creative sometimes. There's no wrong or right way to do this. Just experiment and find what works best for you. Just a few items you didn't see me pick up in the store. Things like eggs and bread. I feel an Olive Garden recipe coming on. This is their version of the Olive Garden salad dressing. Got some of their ranch dressing. Patrick some chocolate milk. I got some mini cucumbers, romaine lettuce, a couple of Roma tomatoes, some canned biscuits. We're a snacking family, so I got some vanilla wafers. We just like to snack on those sometimes. Some croutons, a couple of packages of this creamy garlic and herb. That's like the Laughing Cow cheese, whipped cream cheese, cheese singles. Got these little speculoos cookies. These are like the Biscoff cookies. Can't wait to try those. I don't think I've had their brand. I got Patrick some little cupcake cakes, and we love these cookies. They're like the Girl Scout tag-alongs. They had all of these little cheese and fruit snack things. There's 3 packs in each. Nuts, cheeses, dried fruits. They were on sale for like $2.49 a pack. No, maybe $2.39 a pack. They're usually $2.49 or $2.69. Still a good deal at that. This was 99 cents, and these are delicious. We've already eaten this one. It's like a really fluffy kind of ice cream. It's called a ice dessert, but it was really good. So if you see these, they also had a raspberry kind, and I just thought we'd enjoy the mint better. They're very good. Couple of little things that got me in the aisle of shame tonight. I was actually looking for new things to go in our shower, and I wanted to get each of us our own little shelf. I don't like the metal ones. I like the plastic stuff. They had these for $6.99 at Aldi, and we'll see if they stick. They're suction cup. I got 2 of those. I forgot I did get some brioche buns. Brioche buns. That's hard to say. Got a pack of those. And oranges were $2.99. I thought this was a really neat thing, too. This is like a knife holder, and it goes in your kitchen drawer. And this is like cork. You just slide your knives in between. So I think I can get a lot of stuff in there. But anyway, that was the damage of what I did at Aldi tonight. Today, I am going to make some homemade spaghetti sauce. I mean, really, spaghetti is easy. It's the sauce that everybody brags about that really makes your spaghetti yours. And you just won't believe how simple and easy this one is. Semi-homemade, guys. It is absolutely delicious. And it's almost embarrassing to put it out here because it's so easy. But I'm sure there are somebody's little Italian authentic grandma out there who makes it delicious and full of lots of special little tricks and stuff. This is not that, but this is my family's favorite. And you know what makes it your family's favorite? It's not that you put a lot of time or a little bit of time into it. It's that your family's used to it. Honestly, some of my family's favorite recipes that I make, they're not that hard, but it's what they're used to, and it tastes like home to them. The same goes for the spaghetti sauce. I found an old roll of 80/20 ground chuck. You know how it comes, looks like bulk sausage sometimes? I had some of that in my freezer, so I've got a pound of that in here. I'm going to double this little recipe. I always do a double batch so I can freeze some. But I am grounding up that ground beef. I think I said that backwards. I put in 1 very small diced onion. I'm going to use a paper towel and some tongs to get out as much of the excess grease that I can. And I like to use this little pot right here to make my sauce in. I like the size of it, and it has a lid. And one thing I'll say is if you're going to make some tomato sauce, you definitely want a little lid. You don't want it, popping out and getting all over you. I believe that my ground beef is cooked all the way through here. My onions are getting nice and soft. And you don't have to put the onions or the garlic that I'm fixing to put in here, but I just do. It just gives it a little something extra. I don't always put it in here, but if I have it, I do. And I'm just using this little jarred garlic, and I'm just going to put in, 2 little teaspoonfuls. And I'm just going to saute that garlic around here for just a minute or so till it gets nice and fragrant. Changed out my utensils here for safety. Don't want it cross-contaminate with raw meat and cooked meat. I've turned my heat down just a little bit, and I am going to put in a 6-ounce can of tomato paste. Now, since I'm doubling this recipe, I'm going to use 2 cans of this. But the second can is not really a can. It is some tomato paste that I had frozen that I just used a little bit out of. If you've been here long, you've seen me do this. If I open a can of tomato paste, just to use, a couple of tablespoons full, I'll put it in a baggie like this, a freezer bag, date it, put it in the freezer. Then I can just go back and break off how much ever I need for a recipe. And I have to say, when you use the tomato paste, it's a much richer flavor. You could definitely use tomato sauce here. And we're going to put some water with this. But even though this is probably not a full 6 ounces, it's such a rich flavor. It's going to be fine. For my water, I'm adding 1 3/4 cups. It's almost 2 cups of water to 6 ounces of tomato paste. If you were using tomato paste, you would just use 2 small 8-ounce cans, 1 can per each serving or each little recipe. And then you would reduce the water to just 1 cup. And I'm just breaking my tomato paste up in here with a whisk. And I've got this on about a medium heat right now. We're gonna bring it up to a simmer. Now the real star of the show is this packet of seasoning right here. This is Kroger brand, but it tastes a lot like the McCormick thick and zesty spaghetti sauce seasoning mix. And the recipe that I'm showing you is the one that's right here on the back of the package. This stuff is delicious, and it's full of every seasoning that you need. Of course, I'm using 2 envelopes because I'm doubling this. If you've ever had that little green box of Kraft spaghetti sauce or spaghetti dinner, do you know what I'm talking about? I'll try to find a picture and put that up here for you. But if you've ever had that, that's like a core childhood memory, is that little green box of that Kraft spaghetti dinner. This has that very, very close to that flavor of that. And look at what it's done for it already. I'm just whisking it down in here, and I'm gonna put my lid on this. Get my onions and meat out of there. Just gonna put the lid on it and let it come up to a simmer. And I'm just gonna let it sit here as long as I need it to. Stirring it ever so often, putting it down on low heat when I think it's about right, and it'll be delicious the longer that it sits. Look how rich and thick this stuff sets up. I always pull my little lid back here and put it in front of me because this stuff will pop out and get you. But I've eaten this as quick as just letting it simmer maybe 10 minutes, and I've let it just simmer even a couple hours on the stove. Very, very low heat right now. We'll be bulling up some noodles of your choice to go with it here in just a second. I'm filming this like the first week of January. We get a lot of new friends here in December. And some of you guys that have been watching a long time will already know this stuff, but a lot of these new friends were asking about how I keep my lettuce and my salad fresh and my salad spinner. Something I hadn't been asked that was recently asked is what kind of lettuces do I use? Well, if I'm cutting up a fresh lettuce, I love to use romaine, hearts of romaine. This one is from Kroger. This artisan romaine, I like it because it has a little bit more green to it than some of them do. Romaine lettuce, it really just holds up really well. Like it doesn't get too bad limp and kind of soggy on you throughout the week. Iceberg lettuce is the same way. It stays good and crisp. So if I'm cutting up my own, I'll use romaine or iceberg. I really love green leaf lettuce too. So sometimes I'll do that, and especially in the summer, we can get it eaten, quick enough that it doesn't get limp on us. I'm not a big fan of the bagged salads, although if I'm getting a bagged salad, I will go for the bagged shredded green leaf because it's really good and it seems to stay fresher longer. And I loved the chopped salads. I don't buy much. They're mostly cabbage and kale and Brussels sprouts. And Patrick and Maddie's not big fans of that, but I like them. Now let's get this rinsed really well. The real key to keeping your lettuce fresh is getting all the water out of it after you wash it. This is my little salad spinner. I got this at Aldi's a long time ago, and I have another really good one linked down in the shopping tab and in my Amazon store for you. But you just spin it and it throws all the water out of your lettuce. And I do this a good 2 or 3 times each round. And you can see this is one head. I've already cut up the other head, but I do it in little bitty, little portion sizes here so it can get good and dry. You can see how good and dry it is. Gonna toss it in my bowl back there and let me show you all the water that came out of that. It's crazy how much water comes off your lettuce. So anyway, that's my take and my preferences on lettuce. I've used bag lettuce mixes and bag salads before, but like I said, sometimes they just have a little odd kind of taste to them. But hey, it's better than not eating a salad at all, right? There's this 2 bright, fresh green heads of romaine, all washed, chopped up, ready to go for the week. Whenever we eat out of it tonight, whatever's left, I'm gonna put it down in a large Ziploc storage bag, like a freezer bag, put a paper towel in it, and store it in my crisper all week long, and it will stay nice and fresh for salads, sandwiches, or whatever we want. The rest of the stuff for salads and veggies for the week, I just kind of like cut it up as I need it. Now my broccoli, I will go ahead and, cut it all into smaller florets. But, cucumbers, bell peppers, tomatoes, stuff like that, I just kind of dice it up as I use it. Plus, I'm dicing these up pretty small for a salad, but I like to keep them in like larger pieces, and I try to go for this during the week instead of potato chips. And I will store things like this in little Tupperware containers, and stays pretty fresh for a good long bit. Now, I have my eye on a little set of containers. I think I just saw them on Amazon or something one day when I was scrolling, and they have little trays in the bottom of them, like drip trays, and they look really nice, and you could go ahead and do like all of your lettuce and everything and store these right in your crisper. They're not really super expensive, but just seems like it might take up a lot of room. But I might try them out one day, and if I do, I'll show them to you and let you know what I think about them. But right now, I'm just working on making a little salad bar. And hey, I am okay with that because everybody likes what they like. I'm no person to be judging that because, we all have things we like and dislike. So I just let everybody build their own. But this little bell pepper here, I'm going to go ahead and cut it into strips, put it in a little container, and I'll, have it to snack on this week. I've got 2 more different colored bell peppers that I'll add to that here in just a little bit. But just a little bit of prep work on the front end, it can really save you time, trouble, and honestly, I just eat a whole lot better when stuff like this is like prepped and ready to go for me. And I have to say, this little salad bar is already looking really good to me tonight. You can see that I boiled me up some penne pasta to go with my spaghetti sauce. If you've been here, I'm not the biggest fan of the little thin spaghetti noodles, but I boiled some of those up for Patrick and his daddy, and this was so delicious. It hit the spot for both of us. It was delicious, along with a big salad and some old, just cheap homemade garlic toast. Like I said, there's nothing special to this one, but my family loves it, and I think yours will too. It's perfect for a busy weeknight, and you can keep all the ingredients on hand to make it anytime. The thoughts of stocking your pantry and your freezer might seem a little overwhelming, but remember, it doesn't happen all in one big trip to the grocery store. Set aside a little bit of extra cash each week, even as little as $5, and put it towards building up your stock. You're going to be surprised at how quickly it adds up, and you'll be a little better prepared for just whatever life might throw at you. You can watch this video on the screen if you'd like to see more. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you there, friends. And as always, I send you lots of love from my kitchen.